Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man Power Ministry Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Minister Ryan Smith of the Virgin Street Church of Christ right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If this is your first time tuning in with us, man, we're blessed to have you on the show. We pray this ain't the last time that you come across this channel and this ministry. If you are a returning visitor, man, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Tonight, episode number 30. This is a special time in this ministry. We're hopping into our second spinoff. Months ago, I believe it's back in May, we talked about the women and wives in ministry, and so we appreciate them and their gifts still to this day. Tonight, we are starting an awesome spinoff where we are talking to some of our favorite music ministers in the game, and tonight we're starting it off with a bang. We got my friend, my brother from another mother, music minister Malcolm Himes III, right here locally in Tulsa, from the Peoria Church of Christ, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you know Malcolm, you already know what this dude is about, but it's a blessing for him to come and share this time with us, giving insight into what's behind him as a person, what's behind his ministry, where does talent come from. If you know Malcolm, he's well sought after, and so we're blessed to have him. In fact, y'all, we're not gonna waste no more time. Let's go and jump into it. Malcolm, man, how you doing, bro?
I'm well. I'm doing well, man. I'm just blessed and loving that space.
Yeah.
I'm just being blessed, and so I'm doing pretty well, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm Gucci, man. I'm Gucci.
Gucci.
I'm Gucci, bro, man. It's good to, like I said in the intro, just to have you on, man. Have you sit down, take the time. Obviously, you're sought after, you're super talented, and whenever you got a talent, I've learned that you're gonna be in high demand. And so, for you to take the time, we bros, we talk all the time, but for you to take time out of your schedule, away from your family to come sit down with us, man, we definitely know all those of you viewing online, definitely appreciate it, bro.
Well, I definitely appreciate the invite. I see you got this thing going, and it's been going pretty strong. So, kudos to you for stepping out and doing something that um, if it's been done, it hadn't been done by very many, and you got the whole setup. I mean, it's you look like one of them podcasters that's
Hmm.
just out there. So yeah, man, you got a good thing going here. So
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
keep
it, man.
up the good work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. You ready to get into this, bro?
Yes, sir.
Bet. You're regarded, man, in our fellowship as having one of the greatest voices in our brotherhood, man. And so, with that, tell us, man, not only just about your gift, man, but really what got you into music. What was that moment where you knew, okay, this is something that's gonna be major in my life?
Well, I certainly appreciate the confidence and the compliment. But music has just always been a part of my life and my
Hmm.
family. Pretty much everybody in my family, on my mom's side of the family, can sing, and so I just came right along and did the same thing.
Hmm.
But growing up in church, you see people, and you're like, okay, I may be able to do that one day.
Yeah.
But you never really think, or I never thought that I'd be able to do it to the capacity that I've been blessed to do it. So, um, really, family it
Hmm.
got me into singing. My mom sings, all my cousins, and aunties, and uncles, and all them.
Yeah.
They all are musically gifted. So, we just kind of stayed in line with what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what really got me into it. And then if you let somebody hear you do something or see you do something and they like it, they're gonna push you. So I always
Yeah.
have to give props to the people in the churches that I grew up in
Hmm.
um, for just kind of pushing me toward that, even when I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So I give props to pretty much everybody who's had a hand in my musicianship, I guess you can say.
Yeah. That's good, man. We appreciate that. It's always good just to kind of hear background and context. I'm an origin guy, so a lot of people are results oriented. That's cool. I love the end result, but I appreciate origin because it kind of gives context on where a person came from, how they got started, X, Y, and Z. So it's definitely appreciated, man. Also, when you look at music in the context of worship, it's not always appreciated, obviously. Um, People just assume it's just, oh, getting up, leading a couple songs, and, before the man of God come preach or whatever. But obviously, I think with coming out of the pandemic, um, dealing with the challenges that come and go with that. I think one of the things that really got pushed forward was the music ministry, not just the person leading, but even those who are assisting and things of that nature, man. And so I'm always intrigued on, being musically inclined myself, asking like, hey, what is your process? So when you are preparing for worship, when you're preparing your worship team, your praise team, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names out there now. But
Right.
when you're preparing your team of musicians for worship, what's that process of selecting songs, working with your team? Expose. Kind of tell us about that.
Well, for starters, I mean, worship is important to God,
Hmm.
and the musical aspect of it is very important to God, or else He wouldn't have created it.
Right.
He wouldn't have implemented it in worship, even going back to the Old Testament. If it wasn't important to him, he wouldn't have done it. So I think if you go in with that mindset that this is very important, not just to sound good and to be on point and be on key and look good and all that, but it's really important to God. Um, that just motivates me to say, okay, this is serious and really got to get in there and work and just give the absolute best. So when we're prepping, I try to make it known, like, hey, this is what we've been called to do. This is what God wants us to do, and whatever your best is, give that. Everyone has different levels of gifts and abilities, but when we come together and we put it together, it's a sweet smelling savor to God.
Right.
If we're giving our absolute best. If you're just halfway doing it, then that's probably not the role you want to take.
It's gonna show too.
It's gonna show. It's definitely gonna show. Cain, that's what got him where he was at.
Right.
Because he wasn't fully engaged. He didn't give it his all or his best or whatever his attitude was. But as far as preparation, what I do is I just take an inventory of who I have. You have to take inventory of the people and their gifts around you. So while I venture out and do some songs that are newer or whatnot, I also look at who I have. There's nothing wrong with pushing people to expand their horizons, but you don't send people out either. And so I've been fortunate to work with great groups of people throughout ministry. I've been fortunate enough to work with great groups of very talented people, and so that has been a huge plus, and it makes what I do a whole lot easier. But prep wise, we go in. Sometimes you go in with a list. I know some people go in there ultra prepared. Sometimes you go in with a list, but a lot of times I'll go in and say, okay, what is the mood of the congregation? What is it that they're needing? A lot of times, especially when I was younger, my mom would always say, hey, listen, make sure you got your songs prepared. Don't wait till Saturday night to get your songs prepared.
Preparation.
And that is key. It's important. But sometimes you walk into a building and you got a bunch of songs prepared, and then the congregation is like, nah. And you have to change course. And so been fortunate enough to do it long enough to be able to read the room and say, okay, we may not be able to do these songs this week. Somebody may be going through, or multiple people. You know how our churches are, huge family-oriented churches, and so somebody may have lost a loved one this week. And while you want to, make a joyful noise and shout to the Lord, sometimes you may have to go in there and do a little bit of mourning or whatnot. So those are the things that I think are key. Being able to know your personnel, know who you're working with, being able to stretch yourself and help them stretch and grow, but knowing what the congregation needs at that moment. A lot of that goes into preparation for me. So that's how I kind of do that.
Good stuff. And then in particular, we talked about the congregation. We have to mention where you are, and so you're here locally in Tulsa, serving under Dr. Warren G. Blakeney with the North Peoria Church. And as the saying goes, there's no place like this place.
Anywhere near this
place.
This is the right place. Yes, sir.
So kind of tell us about just in particular working with him, working with that great congregation, man, and just how that's blessed your life and your ministry.
Oh man, it's a huge blessing. Shout out to Pops. Dr. Blakeney he's one of a kind. He preaches well, he teaches well, his leadership is great, but the man can show enough sing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when you're working with someone who understands your field and they understand some of the hang-ups and whatnot that come along with it, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go into places and they really don't have an idea of what you do or how to help you. And, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their specialty. But when you're working with someone who knows and who can guide you in the right direction, it just makes everything so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
For sure.
So I really enjoy working with him. He's been a great leader, and he's more like a father to a lot of guys.
Right.
That's why we call him Pops.
Right.
Because
Right.
that's what he's been. Just that guy that you can lean on, you can talk to, you can get guidance from, and not necessarily advice, but wise counsel, because that's different than advice.
Yeah.
So I can always go to him for wisdom, and especially in that realm, like where do I need to be going with the congregation? What do you hear? What do you see? All those things are great to be able to do, under his leadership. So that's again, it's just been making my job a lot easier.
Yeah, and that's important for those viewing when you consider music and singing. A lot of times, we'll be on YouTube. People, YouTube. You get on YouTube and you hear Malcolm, you hear Jason, you hear Mike Craig, you hear Dwayne Pugh, you hear Boopy and them, and you're like, okay, I want to bring this to my church. And it's like, that may not work for your church. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's learning to not only have a set of songs or music that you would like to sing, but it's also learning to sing songs that are going to fit the scheme of the congregation, the scheme of your leadership, X, Y, and Z. So it's important.
Yeah, you have to know your leadership. You have to know your congregation. You have to know the people that you're working with. You got to know their skill set and their abilities. And again, while you want to stretch, you obviously want to stretch and grow, and you want to help them stretch and grow.
Right.
You can't get watermelon from a seed of corn. Like, you just can't. So
that's a word.
You can't. Like, you can plant all the watermelon seeds that you want and pray that it becomes corn, but that's just not the way that it works.
Right.
So, be true to thine own self, and know who you're working with, and try to maximize or help maximize their gifts and abilities. If you're a Red Book church, sing the Red Book, but learn all of the songs.
Right, it's like, be the best Red Book that you can be.
Best Red Book.
Be the best sacred.
Exactly. The scarred selections. Be the best scarred selections you can be, and that's okay. Just kind of touching on that. I'm in a place where North Peoria, we can do a little bit of everything. But we have an older congregation for the most part, so they'll go with you on the new jams because old school was once new school. And so they'll go with you, but you got to give them something. You can't sing all new top 40 gospel. You got to reach back and get some of them Red Book songs,
for sure,
because that speaks to them in a different way. And as you get older, those Red Book
you
songs,
find yourself going back a little bit.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Aside from just what you do with music ministry, man, this is also a get to know you piece, man. So outside of the music ministry, when you're not prepping, man, what are some of your hobbies and interests that you kind of get into?
Man. Anybody want to talk about sports?
Hey.
If you want to talk about sports with me,
historian, the whole nine.
Baseball, football, basketball, cricket, lacrosse, field hockey,
badminton,
kickball, jacks. It doesn't matter. I love sports. and that's always been a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I even have on the home team
There you
hat
go.
right now.
There you go.
Chattanooga Lookouts.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chattanooga.
Chat time.
You know, it obviously goes well with the shirt. Shameless plug, Church Pew Slate.
There you go.
That's Denise Perry. She fired me for being paid advertising because I'm really bad at reposting. But it's all good. Shout out. But you know, sports is a big thing for me. Art. I love art. You know, I'll go to a museum in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Love art. I love the outdoors. You know, what's that called? A plant dad. Everybody talking about plant dad. I got plenty of plants. I got a plant room, and that's something that I just got into not too long ago.
Yeah.
But being outdoors, getting sunshine, art, obviously music, sports, love it. And you can probably tell I like food a little bit. You know?
you in the right place with food, man.
Listen, Tulsa got. Let me tell y'all something right now. Come in close. Tulsa has the same amount of churches and restaurants. If you ever want to lose weight, don't move to Tulsa. It's not happening.
They call it Bible Belt for a reason.
Yeah.
Go get
Expansion. It's the belt buckle. Like, you gotta loosen up your belt buckle when you come here. Yes, sir.
Man, now, man, you know, we're at a point, man, in our 30s, man, where we're kind of in transition, where we're not looking at, you know, the individuals that are in front of us and like, okay, wow, they're in their prime. Like, we're at a point now where you and I, man, we're in our prime. And so whether it's preaching or singing, like, we're the ones now that the generation under us is looking at us like, okay, wow, you know what I'm saying? And so I want to be like him. I want to be like her, X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? And so we talk about now, we have to really get that much more serious just about the church and where we see it going, man. And so in our 30s, man, like, just where do you see the church in the next 5 to 10 years?
Man, you know, and it's just a widely held conversation about the pandemic. The pandemic just, you know, some would say that it ruined a lot, but you know, God's word and God's church is never gonna die.
Right.
So I have faith in that. And when it comes to the music portion of it, I think the church is gonna be in good hands. There are some great guys coming up. You know, our generation in our 30s, we had some giants to look to. Like, we had some giants, you know, guys like, obviously, Chris Turner, you know, Paul Williams, Willie Norwood, Thomas Fitzgerald, Harold Robinson. I mean, it's like, the list is eternal.
Yeah.
And there are guys that, you know, don't always get as much credit as they should, and they've been gifted by God. While I'm talking, Jeff Moran, guys like that.
We can keep going on.
We can go an hour just naming influential people. And you know, you did the women's series, so you can't forget the Stephanie Bookers, the Terry Mays, the Carolyn Settles,
Tiffany Malone.
See, I'm going back. Rainier Chapman, you know, Kenitra Dixon. Like, these are some greats and some giants that we've been able to look to. And now,
and just pause too, they definitely have a women, those giants, women definitely have a place in ministry as well. And that was the whole point. You know, you referenced the women's series, man. That was the whole point when I did that, just to show, hey, women definitely have a place.
Sylvia, like, I could just
that's
Sylvia
going
Rose.
Back. That's
Sylvia
scarred,
Rose,
sacred.
Like, has a whole songbook
by herself.
By herself. You know, she was at Southwestern for like, what, 2 years, and the impact that she made is
just in 2 years.
To this day. Like, I just sang Call Him Up yesterday. You know, so I mean, the list goes on. And so, you know, fortunately enough for us, and I can't forget Veronica Williams and Amy Johnson Walker. I cannot forget them as well.
Please forgive us.
Charge it to the head and not
our heart.
But fortunately enough, those giants, most of them are still around. And so it's a beautiful thing to see them watching us and saying, okay, we did what we were supposed to do, and they're still doing it, but we did what we were supposed to do. We did what we were called to do, and this is the fruit of our labor here. Well, we have that same responsibility to do that and to carry on the mission. And so when I look at some of the younger guys that are coming along, not necessarily the name drop, but like Leandre Melton, shout out Cuzzo, Alden Hall, let's see, I'm about to get in trouble name dropping, but Micah Kennedy.
You better off naming just groups. Just
better off naming
Vision,
just groups, right?
Just
Vision, right? But I mean, some of these guys, some of the ladies that are coming up behind us that are really taking charge and really just moving forward. As I get a few more silver and whites in my beard, obviously I'm kind of you'd say in your prime or whatnot, but I can look at these programs and be like, I remember when they were little kids sitting on the front row or sitting in the back playing, and now they're up doing the same thing. And I'm sure like Turner was looking at watching me as a little boy, and now I'm standing next to him. So it's just amazing to watch, and that whole circle of life type thing. In reality, when you do something for so long, you realize like people are watching. They're watching, and so it's an honor and a privilege to know that there are some people coming up behind us, and even younger because those people that we just named, they're in their 20s. Like we were just in our 20s last week.
Man,
I just got out of my 20s last week.
Real talk.
Okay.
Real talk.
I remember my first day of high school. So to see these guys and these young ladies coming up, is just,
it makes you feel just a little old. You know what I'm saying? Just a little old.
Well, I'm not old. I'm aging.
Gracefully.
Gracefully, right? But yeah, man, it's a beautiful feeling to know that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, that the work that God has blessed me to do has had an impact and an influence on some generations to come. So I'm appreciative that God has allowed me to stay around that long and have that type of reach and impact.
Yeah, for sure. Lastly, man, before we go, this is also just a mentorship piece, and so those who know you, as we said in the top of the show, man, you're regarded in our fellowship as one of the greatest voices of our generation. So you talked about the laundry list of influencers that in our brotherhood that have blessed you, and so as a mentorship piece, man, there are now, because of where we are in our 30s, aging gracefully, as an influence that you've become, there are now people that are looking at you now, and they want to glean whatever they can from you and so many others in our age bracket like you. And so what's some advice that you can give to those who are under us, up and coming, who are aspiring to be in that position? Because even now I have people like, man, I really want to get into music ministry. As a pastor, like, do you need a music minister, or what are some steps that I need to take to get into a music ministry? What's the mentality that I should have, man? So kind of share with us.
Like with anything, there should be a gift and a calling, right? Some people have the gift, but they don't answer the call. Some people don't have the gift and they try to answer the call.
Right.
With that, make sure that God is at the center of it, and pray to God, like, God, is this what you really want me doing? Can I be most useful to your kingdom by going this route?
Right.
You know, for people that are looking to get into it, because, you know, music is it's a difficult thing. Like, it is a universal language. So if you can sing or if you can play, like, people, they know. You know, people may not be able to sing, but they know when you can. Right. So just really seek the wisdom of God on that, and seek His favor on that. You know, God, is this where I can be most useful? And if singing is not your gift, then find other ways to be useful in the kingdom. You may be useful on the soundboard. You may be great at audio visual. And instead of getting in the way with what you may think is your gift and ability, use the gifts and abilities that you have to help in the, like, music ministry isn't all about singing. Like, for sure, you need somebody to run sound. You need somebody to change batteries in microphones, or be able to run and do X, Y, Z. There's so much to do.
The small stuff, man. Sometimes it's small stuff that the unsung.
The unsung, like, that type of stuff really helps your worship ministers. It really helps your praise leaders. It really helps your worship team. So, you know, for those that may not have that ability to sing, but you want to have an impact, learn the technical things, the technical aspects of sound. That would help. Those who do have that gift and ability, keep God at the center of it, and just know that no matter how big your name becomes, God can replace you in a heartbeat.
Sure.
In less than a heartbeat. I mean, you know, one person is not going to, if one person leaves the scene, the work is not going to stop. You know, that's why I have the mentality that no matter how many people say, you know, this and that about me, and you know, the greatness or whatever their opinion is, when it's my time to go, it'll be my time to go. I'll have nothing to do with it. I'll have no say in it. But I'll always keep a mindset of humility that, hey, man, like, He gave you this gift, and it is a gift. He didn't have to give it to you.
Yep, that's real.
So use it to the best of your ability while you have it. And when it's your time to move out of the way, and He'll tap you on the shoulder and let you know it's your time to move out of the way. Don't get in the way. When it's your time to kind of fade off the scene in that regards, if the Lord is still letting you breathe, then just be a support to those that are coming up and taking the reins.
That's good. That's good. Man, we appreciate that insight, man. I've been blessed by it, you know, as one of your brothers, man. I know those who are online even now and on Team Replay are going to be blessed by it as well, man. Man, we appreciate you, bro.
Man, appreciate you, man. This is my brother.
Definitely, man, definitely. Before we let you go, man, we always, with this being social media, with this being audio, video, man, we always want to give a shout out and let people share, man, and people who look up to you, people who want advice, people who want to reach you, man. What's the best way to contact you in the ministry of the church as well?
You mean, like, what do you mean? Because, you know, I don't be on social media like that. Like, listen, let me help you out with Facebook is almost a no-go for me. I am rarely ever on Facebook. Right. Even if you see that green dot,
ain't on there.
I am not there. I promise you, I'm not there. But, you know, if people, hey, listen. Background apps, they're just running. I don't even have the Facebook app on my phone.
There you go.
But you can message me on Facebook, Malcolm R. Himes III, I think it is. I don't even know my Facebook name. But,
How about let's try this? Let's try this, man. How we find the church?
Look, you giving us all the ways we can't reach you.
Right.
Give us the ways we can.
Right.
North Peoria Church of Christ here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
There we go.
And then, of course, I have Instagram, which I'm most on. And that handle is Malcolm P. Himes. And let me make this clear.
You put full screen on you, man. Second.
When this camera right here,
Yeah.
listen, all right. If you're gonna message someone and you can see their handle, spell their name right.
There you go.
My last name is Himes. Himes.
Boy, airing out his grievances real quick.
I got to get them out because my name has been misspelled so many times. It's Dimes it's Dimes but with an H, okay?
There you go.
Dimes Himes. And Malcolm, 2 L's. I don't know anybody that spells their name Malcolm without 2 L's. Malcolm.
Just think of Malcolm X, like, yeah, and you'll
Exactly.
you'll never go wrong.
Not Malcolm in the middle, Malcolm X.
There you go. Good stuff, bro, man. We appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Blessing us, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That concludes this episode, man. If you have been blessed by this as a ministry, man, like it. If you've gotten value from this episode, man, go ahead and share it. We want people to be blessed by this platform and what we're trying to do with our fellowship, man. Again, if it blessed you, like it, share it. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until the next episode, we'll see you then. God bless you. God keep you. Peace.